but I'd like to welcome Stephanie Walker, and Jyoti is going to be joining as well. Stephanie and Jyoti are from the Heart of England Foundation Trust.
No, UHB.
Sorry?
UHB.
UHB?
Yeah.
Yep. Now proudly part of UHB. I was so entranced by Emma and Daniel's presentation, I didn't learn your summary verbatim. But yeah, so Stephanie is a shared care home educator, and this team were part of Wave 2 when they were at the Heart of England Foundation Trust, but now they're part of the University Hospitals Birmingham following the merger. So thank you, and over to you.
Thank you. I'd like to say my name's Steph. Our trust has been doing shared care for many years, haven't we? And we were sort of brought in to Wave B of the Share HD research project. So, clicker. Okay. So today we're just discussing like sustainability. Usually when you start a project off, everyone's really geared up. They're really enthusiastic, and it can tail off pretty quickly. And the important thing we wanted to ensure was that if we're offering a service to patients, that we're not going to just be really enthusiastic and for it to tail off. This has to be offered all the way through their pathway of their journey through their treatment. So I think this slide, some of you may have seen this before. And I just want to point out, the important thing is, I won't point because as I move you won't hear me, is I was very lucky when I first got my post. My clinical director, Jyoti, was really enthusiastic about Shared HD. She was very open to new initiatives being brought in, to get the uptake taken across the 4 units. Her goal was very big, and I learnt a lot of things not to do when you first start out, which Chanya at the back is aware of, when I was trying to get every single patient getting involved all in one go. But I just wanted to point out it's really important that you do get your leads involved. And I'm saying that is because sometimes you do find a lot of resilience, and that not only will be from the front line staff, it can be from managers. You only need one negative comment which can, hinder the uptake of share care, whether that's to the patients or to staff. So we decided that we needed to get everyone involved that we could. So we've got, God, it's not very big, is it? It's your picture. I know it's my picture. Okay, so from memory, what we did was we got, obviously, the clinical director. My first thing I had to do was get my matron involved. And it was difficult because he wasn't from a hemo background. So I dragged him around all the 4 units, and he listened to me constantly going on about what share care could do for the patients, to staff and managers. So I got him on board, so that was great. That gave me a way that if I wasn't getting things in across the correct way, or I was struggling, I could get him involved, encourage like the managers, and then to involve link nurses as well. The most important thing is all the way through this, everyone has to be involved, everyone has to take part. We see shared care, it's not an extra duty, it's part of a nurse's role to teach and to educate. So that's where we try and get it across. So we had to embed it in our renal pathway, basically, and we developed a sustainability plan as well. So one of the things that we recognised was education. There was issues with staff not wanting to, and when we did an audit of a questionnaire to the staff, why they didn't want to teach, or they didn't feel, what were their views on teaching, a lot of it came back that they didn't feel confident, and they felt that they needed more education. So, okay, how do you teach someone to teach someone else, a patient? It's very difficult. These nurses can teach other nurses, patients are no different, and in better, sometimes it's easier to teach a patient than it is to teach nurses that don't like change or have their own habits, if I could say that. So what we did was we came up with a 2-day in-house course, which we opened up to all our units, and also we've merged with QE, so they also had attendance, so we were split 50-50. It was a bit of a pilot, but in that we did practical learning skills, group sessions, and topics included accountability, barriers to overcome, communications, hints and tips. One thing that we did get feedback on was that cannulation, teaching a patient how to cannulate, a lot of nurses didn't feel they were competent to do that. So we sort of looked at sort of some practical skills of how, what to do, standing over the patient, giving them space. They were also given smart plans and PDSAs to work on as well. We did learn a lot, and there's some tweaking that we need to do. And unfortunately, we can only offer this in-house training over the, not over winter pressures. Well, we've got winter pressures, so like April to October. So that's when the next lot of sessions we'll be holding. Also, the reason we do it's very difficult for our team to get up to Sheffield to attend the 4 days. So we offer it to staff that do want to travel to Sheffield. But due to childcare and different things, they found it easier that if it's in-house, at least we're able to meet a large audience. So I think we've all done this. We've done a majority of people. Again, we did the roadshow. We tried to have a more NDT approach. So we had like our pre-dialysis team involved. We had our kidney transplant coordinator involved as well. We had a consultant with us, Jyoti, who gave up a time to come round. We had share care sort of patient advocates as well, because like as previously discussed today, share care home HC isn't for everyone. So for patients that it isn't suitable or they're afraid to go home, share care can open up new avenues for them and open options. So we find that shared HD is a great stepping stone to home HD. It's definitely increased our numbers, but we can make sure that the patients are aware that if they're doing shared care, they don't have to go home. It's their choice at the end of the day. So again, a coffee and cakes morning, we've been doing this for quite a few years, haven't we? And again, it's an informal setting for patients to talk between themselves, because we've definitely found that patients have the strongest voice. So it gives a platform. It's good for staff because it gets them involved, so that keeps the enthusiasm going in the units for the link leads, and to encourage staff and to educate as well what's going on, because again, they can listen to patient stories and their journeys. Okay, that's just me.
Morning, everyone. Like Stephanie said, I'm Jyoti Barani. I'm the clinical lead currently at the Heartlands, Solihull and Good Hope side of University Hospitals Birmingham. We have merged, it's not even a year, and we work very differently. So I'm just going to present to you really about a little bit about creating the culture. We always had a bit of shared hemodialysis care in our units. I think it's one thing saying that patients are sharing their treatment, and it's completely another to actually be aware that they are actually doing it. So the first thing, I suppose, I did something that most new clinical leads do, try and sort everything out at once, but it didn't work. I did find that, sorry, is this working? Yeah, there were pockets of different culture in our different units. One of the good things about Heartlands is that all our units are NHS run, which may be a bit unusual. We have about 380 patients on hemodialysis, but we run all our own satellite units. So to a certain extent, it is easy to tell the staff what to do, but geographically, the units are quite far apart. And what I found when Steph and I started looking at shared care, well, there were individual units doing really well. So they were sort of like stage 3, the lone warriors. Oh, we're doing well. I don't really care what the unit down the road is doing. And my plan, or our plan rather, was to try and get everybody doing it well all the time. And I think what we did was we created a number of things. We reshaped the pathway. Anybody who knows anything about Heartlands will know that I like patients to dialyse at home. I stand corrected. Not everybody should dialyse at home, but if they don't dialyse at home, then they certainly should take some responsibility for their care. So one of the things that we did was, if somebody wasn't going to be going home and they were going to come in centre, they were given a piece of paper to introduce shared care to them, even at the pre-dialysis stage. We discussed everybody at an MDT meeting. There were always some hagglers, some people that thought that actually if you start sharing care with patients, the dialysis nurse won't have a job. So it was just trying to allay fears amongst the staff, talking about shared care handovers, just raising the profile and making it part of nursing appraisal and as well as regular audits. One of the things that I think I'm most proud about is a WhatsApp group, and I'll go through some examples of what we do in the WhatsApp group. We talk about cakes an awful lot, talk about chocolates an awful lot, but we also talk about novel ways that different units are doing shared care. Stephanie takes all the credit for introducing certificates. It never ceases to amaze me how much a certificate can inspire a patient and a member of staff. So we have these regular coffee mornings where we acknowledge patients as well as staff who have had a particularly good role to play in shared care. Without industry, we probably wouldn't be able to do all the education that we did. And we challenge people that say, I don't want to do shared care, or shared care is really good. And really being supportive. I think the reason why Sonia and possibly Stephanie wanted me to be here was because, as doctors, we just pretend it's shared care is not our problem or it's not our issue. But actually, unless you have the say-so of a clinician, very little can happen in a dialysis unit. Perhaps I'm a bit presumptuous in saying that, but I do really believe that. These are our WhatsApp messages. Most of us are on Twitter, and we kind of just text about things. Oh, this is what so-and Kat's in here from Nottingham. She tweeted something the other day, and we kind of said, well, why don't we do that? And actually, we've got about 26 people on the WhatsApp group. We have about 80 staff, so that's about a quarter of our staff. That's not bad. If I can get other numbers, I'll just stick them on. I think I'm the admin, as far as I know. And it's just trying to get people talking. If there are good things happening, a patient that we've seen in the pre-dialysis setting for once. And, I think doctors as well as nurses can be very presumptuous about what patients' ability can be and can't be. I still remember the photograph that Tanya showed, and I don't know if it's real or not, but about this ballerina who's about 80 years old, and people just think she's a frail little lady on dialysis, but actually on her weekends when she's not dialysing, she's practicing ballet. So I think we like to reduce people into the sick role when they don't need to be. So it's quite good to see somebody at the pre-dialysis stage who we thought would not be capable of needling themselves being able to needle, and we take pictures. We get consent from patients before we do that. And when the patient goes home, we also take their pictures and we put it on the WhatsApp group. And I think that motivates staff as well as other sort of disbelievers. And I just want to end by saying that you can have all the strategies in the world, but unless you have the culture, it's not going to run. Any idea, doesn't matter how good it is, unfortunately, winter pressures get in the way. So, to me going out to the dialysis units and just saying, right, just tell me what your problems are, or talking about shared care, or just giving the nurses the ability to order a scale that can hoist a patient and weigh them at the same time. That's really important. And if I know there are many clinicians in the audience, I think it's really important that we do our part in sustaining and creating that culture for shared care. Thank you.
Thank